Hey loves, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video you're going to learn how to sew this trendy gown or this trendy bag. I don't know what to call it, but it has been trending on Instagram recently, so I decided to share with you guys how to make it. So I used just 2 yards of Ankara for this and 1 yard of 1.5 yard of doll face. So I have cut out my skirt already, the skirt part, the parts that I know that you guys can relate. So this is the back part, and it has 2 inches zipper allowance. You saw the front part, it was on fold, so it is on fold. So this one is the back part, and it has 2 inches for seam allowance. So this is the front part. I used a normal off shoulder bustier for this tutorial. So this is the front part. I'll show you guys how to cut the back part. So I cut a normal off shoulder bustier. So before I took my measurements, you guys normally know that I normally place this center piece to overlap the side. So the first line that I made is my bust measurement divided by 4. Then the second line where I cut on is my allowance. So right now we are going to cut the back part. So this is the fabric that I'll be using for the back part. So I'll go ahead and fold twice. I'll make my first fold, and then I'll go ahead and make the second one. I've folded once, I'll go ahead and fold again. So the reason why I folded twice is because the belt at the back will not have any lining. I will use the fabric as the lining as well. So this is how it is. And if you are cutting, please, the folded part should be at the upper part. The folded part should be at the upper part. I'll turn it, I'll flip it so that the folded part will be at the upper part, I mean close to the armhole side. So I want this belt to start at 1 inch below my under bust. You are free to determine where you want your own belt to start. So I want it to start at 1 inch below my under bust. You can make yours to reach the half length if you want it to be a bit covered, but mine will not start there. So from the area where I marked, I will add half an inch. You can see that the open part is facing down and the closed part is at the upper part. So you can see you are free to determine where you want the belt to stop. So I want mine to stop at 1 inch below my under bust. So I'll go ahead and add half an inch. You can see I'm marking half an inch right now. This half an inch is what I'm going to use to join this belt. So the belt will be 34 inches long. That is from the area where I will join to the front. It will be 34 inches. You can make it 36 or 40 depending on how long you want your own belt to be. So mine is 34 inches long because I am not that fat. So from there I am going to slant this belt upwards so that it will give us that V shape at the back. You can see that the style that we are trying to recreate has a V shape at the back. So you can see I slanted it upwards. I'll slant it more so that it will give me that sharp V shape at the back. Then I'll go ahead and draw a straight line to the full length of the belt. So I'll cut out right now. Please try to give this V shape, but if you want your own back to be covered, you don't need to do this. So if I open this belt up, you will see that I have two right there. So the upper part is on fold. I don't want to join that side. The lower part is the part where I will join. So you can see the place that is closer to the armhole is not open, it is on fold. So my belts are ready. So here is the front, and you can see where I placed the belt. This is where to stop. So I have added my wording to my front part, and this is the lining as well. So I'll go ahead and join, and after joining I will iron, and I'll show you guys. So here is it. I am done ironing, and this is how it looks. So the back part, like I said, will not have any lining, only the front part will have the lining. So this lining is what you are going to use to cover the side of this bustier. So right now you will mark your measurements on the back part of your bustier. You can see I'm marking my measurements on the back part. My bust is 34 divided by 2. That is what I marked. My waist is 27 divided by 2. That is 13 and a half. So I will mark 13 and a half. Mark it on the back part of your bustier. So you mark your measurements before placing that belt. I don't know if you understand. So I'll go ahead and place my belt. You can see that I have turned my belt, so only this white part is open. So I'll go ahead and place these belts on that area where I marked my measurements. I'll place it there and pin it down, and you should leave at least half an inch at the armhole line before placing these belts. You should give half an inch. That will serve for as an allowance for turning the lining, for turning the fabric with your lining. So you can see I placed my belt on that area where I marked my bust measurements. So you can see where I marked this one. I'll come down by half an inch and place my belt and then pin. So you can see the belt is fixed now. Then I'll go ahead and cover this with my lining. I will shift the belt inside, then I'll place my lining on top. I used a tissue gum for my lining. So right now I'm going to turn the neckline, and I am going to sew on that area where I marked my measurement. This is the reason why I marked my measurements on the wrong side of this bustier. So I'll turn the neckline and I will sew on that area where I marked my measurement. So I am done sewing. I will turn it out, and after turning it out, this is what it looks like. Then I'll go ahead and iron it very well. So after ironing, I will measure my half length. You can see the belt area is covered right now, and we don't have any excess allowance at the side. So I have marked my half length plus half an inch seam allowance. Then I will trim out, and our bustier is ready, and the belt is properly fixed and no allowance is left out. Everything is very neat. So we'll move over to the skirt part. So I have marked my zipper allowance, and this place that I marked a horizontal line is the slit, is where the slit will start. So I'll run a straight stitch and stop at that line. So right now I have done that, and the upper part, the area where I have that right up, the white area, is the zipper allowance side. So the slit and the zipper allowance are open. So I also repeated the same thing on my lining. So right now I will place my front on the back. If you have been following me, you notice that I don't use that for my skirt part, and it works perfectly. So I'll place the two of them together, and then I'll take my body measurement. My waist is 27 divided by 2, that is 13 and a half. My hip is 38 divided by 2, that is 19. I'll mark 19. Remember I marked 13 and a half at the waist part of the bust, you remember. So I marked 13 and a half on the waist side of the skirt as well. So I'll go ahead and connect the lines. So after connecting the lines, I'll place the lining, both the back and the front, together. I'll place them together, and I will mark my waist measurement, my hip and my knee measurement. They should be the same. The measurement should be the same with what you have on your main fabric. So I'll go ahead and mark 19 on my lining. Then the waist, I'll mark 13 and a half. Then the knee, I marked 15. 19 minus 4 is 15. So I'll mark 15 on my knee and I'll connect. So I'll go ahead and join I will join them separately. I will join the fabric separately, the lining separately. So I am done joining them, and this is what I have right here. So I'll trim off the unequal parts. So I joined the fabric separately and the lining separately. So right now I'll fix my zipper on my main fabric. I'll go ahead and fix my zipper on my main fabric. So I'll go ahead and fix my zipper. So for the lining, I will reduce the full length by 1 inch because we are doing an in-seam finishing. So I'll reduce the full length of my lining by 1 inch so that the lining will not be coming out on the right side of the fabric. So I am done fixing my zipper on my skirt. So right now I will join my bustier to this. So remember, our bustier only has the I don't know how to put it, but our bustier did not cross the side seam. So I'll only go ahead and join the front part on the skirt. You can see only the front part is what I will join, because the belt area you don't have to join it. That's why my belt stopped at 1 inch below my bust point, because I don't want it to reach the half length. So I am done joining right now, and the next thing we are going to do is to cover up the rough edges with our lining. So this is the fabric, right? So I'll go ahead and turn it inside out. I'll make the wrong side to be outside so that we can understand. So the wrong side is outside now. So I'll go ahead and place my lining inside. So this is the slit area. I'll go ahead and push my lining inside. So the front part of the lining should be facing the front part of the fabric. The right side of the lining should be facing the right side of the fabric. Then after placing it, I'll go ahead and close the down parts. I'll run a stitch round. You can see what I'm doing there. I'll go ahead and close our down part. So I'll close it and then come back and show you guys. So I am done closing, right? So if you can notice, I have not closed my slit, so I'll leave it for now so that you guys will not get confused. So after turning the down part, I'll go ahead and push my lining inside. I have turned the down part right now, so I'll push my lining so that it will reach the half length of the main fabric. I have not closed my slit for now. So if you want to make things easier, you can use a hemming gum to close this slit area. Just place it in between the fabric and the lining and iron. So you will drag your lining so that it will reach the half length of the main fabric. So I'll show you guys how to close the waist side, because if you notice, the waist side of the back part is still rough. So I'll cut down my zipper. I'll cut down the length of the zipper. So right now I will use my lining to close the waist. So this is how it looks. You will make the front side of the lining to be facing the right side of the fabric, right side to right side. So let me repeat: right side to right side. Then you start dragging your fabric so that you can sew. So if you are sewing, you will have to push the front part inside. You have to push it inside so that you can cover the rough part on the waist, so that you can cover the waist right round. So I will go ahead and sew. So I am done sewing that. I'll go ahead and turn out everything. So if we turn out everything, the only places remaining now is the zipper allowance and the slit. Like I told you guys, if you want to make things easier or shorter, just close with your hemming gum. So I am done right now. Only my zipper and my slit is open. So only the two are open for now. So I'll go ahead and arrange everything. So what you are going to do now is that from the opening at the zipper allowance, you put your hand through, because everything is closed. So I'll open the zipper. Only the slit is remaining and the zipper. So let me turn the back so that we can understand this part. So from the zipper allowance, you put your hand through so that you can reach the slit area. You put your hand through and then you push out the slit area. So right now you are going to maintain that 2 inches. Remember that we have 2 inches allowance at this slit area, so you are going to maintain that 2 inches seam allowance. Then you are going to run a straight line very close to the center line. Center line, I mean the area where we closed our zipper allowance, where we closed it from. So you can see the front side of the lining is facing the front side of the fabric, so you run a straight line there. So I am done doing that. So if you can see, I ran a straight stitch very close to the center line, you can see, and I maintained that 2 inches seam allowance. I had to close with that 2 inches seam allowance. So if I turn everything out, you can see how neat it looks. So for my waist, I'm going to leave it like that. I will use the hemming gum to close my waist allowance. That's what I normally do, so that if I want to do any adjustment, it will be very easy for me. I'll just open that area and then adjust from there. So this is the final look. I have ironed. So I'll arrange the back part, the belt. In case you want to add a sleeve, I will show you how to add a sleeve to this. So you can see the way I crossed the back, then you will turn to the front. Then after turning to the front, then just go ahead and make a small armhole curve, just very small. So I am done cutting out my armhole, and that is what I have. So you go ahead and attach your sleeve, just manage and attach it anyhow you can. So this is the final look of my dress. You can see that it is so beautiful. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe and hit on the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you will be the first to get notified. So thank you guys so much. See you in my next video. Bye.